Hi, this is Simon Upstill and welcome to another tutorial for Blender. And today we're going to dive into the topic of subdivision modeling. Now, what subdivision modeling allows you to do is to build complex smooth shapes out of very simple geometry. And in this case, what we're going to be doing is building this watering can out of the default cube. So let's get started on this. So here is the default Blender scene you're all familiar with. First of all, I'm going to just turn off the visibility of the camera and the light. And then I'm going to select the cube and I'm just going to move it up so it's sitting flat on the floor. So that's 1 on Z. And then Control A to apply the location. Then I'm going to switch into edit mode, faces, select this top face. I'm going to come to the move tool and I'm just going to move that up. So we've got a slightly taller cube like that. So the tool that we're going to be using most of in this tutorial is the loop cut tool. So let's select it now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a vertical loop like that to that side there. And I'm going to open this up and go with 2 cuts. And then I'm going to come to the scale tool and I'm just going to scale those in a little bit like that. And then I'm going to use the loop tool again to do the same thing on the opposite vertical face. So another loop cut there, switch the number of cuts to 2. Again, let's just scale them in like that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch into edges mode and I'm going to select all of these corners like this. So shift selecting those corners in edge mode. So I'm going to come to the top view. So we're going to scale them in like this on X. So let's have a value of 0.8 there to be absolutely precise. And we'll scale them on Y like this. And again, let's have 0.8 for Y. And this will create a slightly more cylindrical object. So, as I say, this is a tutorial about subdivision. So we're going to come out of edit mode into object mode. We're going to come over to the modifiers, add modifier, subdivision surface. Now this is looking not at all like a watering can, but what we're going to do is we're going to increase the viewport levels up to 5 and also the render levels up to 5. So what we want to do is flatten off the top and bottom so it's more of a kind of tube. So again, we're going to switch into edit mode and we're going to select our good old loop cut tool. So as I make this loop cut, I'm going to drag it and I'm going to drag it up like that. And as you see, as I do so, I'm sharpening up that top edge. And then I'm going to add another loop cut to sharpen up the bottom edge. I'm not going to go all the way because I want a slightly rounded corner, but you can actually go all the way and get a very sharp edge like that. So anyway, I'm just going to go for something like this. So then let's talk about creating the spout. So I'm in the front view here. And now I want the spout to kind of emanate from around here. So again, I'm still in loop cut mode. And I'm going to drag that loop cut down to around there where I want the top edge of the spout to be. And then another one here for the bottom edge of the spout. So we've created, if I switch into selection mode, we've created this little rectangle here. If I switch to faces mode, I can grab this and I can turn that into a spout. So I'm going to do that by selecting the extrude tool and I'm going to extrude it out to create this strange Pinocchio nose. Switch into the side view there. Let's switch to the move tool and let's move it up like that. So now we've got something resembling a spout, albeit still very Pinocchio-like. So let's sort that out and we're going to sort it out, as you probably guessed, using the loop cut tool. So here we're going to drag this loop cut up till we get a much more pronounced tip to the spout like that. And we're going to add another one down here just to sharpen that up. I actually quite like this flare, so I'm not going to go all the way. We could sort of go like that, but I think a little bit of a flare is kind of more interesting way of going about it. So something like that is going to be good. I'm going to switch back into faces mode. And I'm just going to select this face here and I'm going to delete faces and that'll give us an open spout like that. So then let's think about creating the handle at the back. So we've already got a convenient lower edge to the handle down here from where we've created our spout. So we just need to make a similar opening here at the top, and we can do that again with the loop cut tool. So let's come up here, drag it to somewhere around there, drag this one to somewhere around here. Now we've got a corresponding rectangle at the top here. So let's switch into faces mode, select that, and shift select this. Let's come to a side view so we can see better. Let's select extrude again, and let's extrude them out like this, not too far. Again, we've got that strange Pinocchio effect, but you're probably already starting to understand how we can change that. So what we need to do is we need to select this face here and come into the rotate tool, and we need to rotate it like that. So we need to go for something like -45. In fact, let's go for exactly -45 on that. So it's just pointing downwards like that rather than flat. And let's do the opposite with this one here. Let's just rotate that. So I'm rotating it like that, and then I'm going to dial in 45 degrees on that. So then let's select this face and shift select that face, and let's delete them. And then let's come into edges mode, and let's alt click on this loop here, and let's shift alt click on this loop here. So we've got them both selected, and then we can come to edge and bridge edge loops. And now we've got a pretty decent beginnings to our handle, and we just need to sort of sort that out with a little bit more edge loop refinement. So I'm going to come to the loop cut tool. Let's add a loop there. That's quite good. Let's add one here. I think what I'm going to do is not get too carried away here, but I'm going to alt click this loop here, come into the move tool and move that up so we're getting a slightly more interesting top like that. And maybe let's alt click that one and not go quite so far, but just move that one down as well. And so that's looking quite good. If I disable the view, so it's clicking on this screen icon here, we can switch out of subdivision mode. So then let's select this edge here and shift select this edge here. Let's turn back on the viewer, and I just want to move them a little bit in like that, just so we're flattening out that back edge of the handle. So then we need to consider the top. So let's come into faces mode. Let's select all the top faces like that and delete them. Then let's switch into edges mode, and let's alt select this top loop here, and then let's extrude it. So extrude it up like that. Come into the scale tool and scale it in like this. Let's just check on the profile. Maybe let's come to the move tool and just flatten that down a little bit. I think that's probably quite good. So we've got our opening to put the water in there. And then what we need to do is we need to create the top handle that kind of loops over like this. And I'm going to use this face here and the corresponding face on the other side to create that handle. But first of all, I want to kind of loop cut this loop here. So let's come to the loop cut tool and just hover over this area here and just create a loop cut in the middle. I think is going to be absolutely fine. So back in faces mode, let's select this face here and this face here. And let's again come to the extrude tool. And let's look at it from the side here. And let's just extrude up our Pinocchio noses like that. And we need to do the same thing with rotating those faces. So let's select one like that. Let's come to the rotate tool. Let's rotate it around. Let's go for something like 70 degrees. And then this one here, again, rotate it, -70. And then we can delete these faces. Select that one, press the delete key, delete faces. Come into the edges mode and alt select that loop and shift alt select that loop, and then come to edge and bridge edge loops. And now we've got our handle for our watering can. So then I'm going to select the top face here. Just want to thicken out that upper part of the handle. So just select that top face and just move it up a little bit. And you can see that's helping to fatten out the handle, making it a little bit more uniform. So really we're almost done. What we now need to do is we need to solidify this. So let's switch back into object mode. Let's come to the modifiers and let's add solidify. And then let's just increase that thickness up to something like 0.03. And now you can see we've actually got some thickness to our watering can like that. And zoom out a bit and the spout looks like that. A little bit funky around the spout, and if I were doing this for real we'd do something different there, but that's probably not necessary. I just want to adjust the profile of this a little bit. I'm going to turn off the visibility of the subdivision, and in edges mode I'm going to select this edge here. Let's turn back on the subdivision just so we can see the result. I want to kind of have a bit more of a flare going into the spout. So if we drag that up, you can see we get a really nice flare going in like that. It just makes it a little more interesting. And I think I might just add a little bit extra modeling. So let's come to the loop cut tool. Let's put in a loop cut there and another one there. And then let's, in faces mode, select this loop here and come to the scale tool. And let's just scale it out like that to give it a little bit of bulge at the bottom. Nice extra detail. And let's alt select this loop here. And again, let's just flare it out like that until we're getting a nice flare on the top there. So let's just look through our camera to select the camera. Let's come out of edit mode. Let's just move the camera till it's in the right place. We want to zoom out a little bit down. That'll do, I think. Let's add a floor, so mesh plane. Let's scale that to sort of 40 or something, so it's nice and big. Let's come to shading, new. Let's make the floor color sort of matte black, no specular, lots of roughness. Let's select the watering can. Let's just change its base color and then just turn that way down. And let's maybe just reduce the specular and the roughness a little bit, give it a little bit of sheen. And now let's render that. And there's our watering can. And we've turned a cube into something really quite sophisticated. So I hope that's given you a nice introduction to subdivision modeling. It really is a very powerful way of achieving nice, smooth shapes. So thanks very much indeed for watching, and see you again on the next one.